So it's your first time stepping foot in a gym. Don't worry, we're gonna go through all the basics. Everything you need to know, where to go, what to do, and how to do it is gonna get covered right now. The first time I stepped foot in a gym, I definitely had no idea what I was doing. So I wanted to create a step-by-step plan of everything you need to know. So this way it could just make it a lot better of an experience for you. And having a plan is always the way to go. I'm first gonna go over a warm-up and mobility routine. And then we're going to get into 2 techniques that you're gonna use in a lot of different exercises. And then we're gonna get into the actual workout. So it's gonna be a full body, beginner-friendly workout. If you're as confused as I was when I first stepped foot in the gym, I had no idea what this contraption was, but it's a rower. You pull back and you row. It's kind of fun. But before getting into the workout, you want to get your heart rate up, your muscles to get warm. You don't want to just jump in cold. So start by warming up on either a rower, a bike, a treadmill, just some light cardio to get the body moving for about 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to show you guys just a general full body mobility routine that you can do at the start of your workout after you're done warming up. And so the reason why mobility is so important is because if our muscles have a restricted range of motion or there's certain imbalances and things like that, and we go to work out without addressing those issues, then incorrect compensation patterns, pain, and just future injuries can happen as a result. So the first one here, we're going to do some walkouts. So you're gonna just walk your hands out to the ground and then coming back up. And you wanna try and keep those legs as straight as possible to get a nice hamstring stretch in there as well. So we'll do 5 to 10 of those. Next up, we're gonna do some cat camels. So essentially, we're gonna start back up to the ceiling like this, and then breathe through, and then pressing our belly button into the floor as much as we can. So this is going to help a lot with spine mobility and priming that back. And now we're going to go into some thoracic twists. So we're going to reach down as far as we can, come on up and twist. We're going to do some on each side. Now we're going to do some arm crossovers. So essentially, this one's going to be really good for the shoulders. I also like to do some arm circles in there just to kind of prime the shoulders and arms as well. So a lot of people go into their workouts just completely cold without warming up or doing some active stretches and mobility. And those are the same people that tend to get injured and things like that. I learned that the hard way. When I got injured really bad, I definitely was not doing proper mobility. So I learned my lesson and now I do it. And my muscles and body is safe, which is great. So here, starting with our arms on top of each other, and you're facing your palms to the wall behind you, as far back as you can go, and then you're gonna twist and come up and repeat. Ideally, as part of your mobility routine, it would be great to include some like glute activation or rotator cuff activation exercise if you have problems activating those kinds of muscles. But we're just going to keep it simple for today and stick with the basics. Last mobility stretch here, we're going to just stretch the hips. So you're going to stand feet a little bit wider, then shoulder width apart, pressing your elbows out against your knees, and you're just going to rock from side to side, forward, back until you feel really good stretch in the hips there. So now before we get into the workout, I want to go over 2 very important techniques that are going to be used in a lot of different exercises. So the first one is proper bracing. So you're going to put your hands right near your belly button here, and you're going to breathe into the sides of your stomach so your hands start moving away from each other. So, okay, so this, you're breathing into your stomach, expanding the sides of your stomach. So not breathing to your chest, but actually into your stomach. So that's step 1. And then step 2 is to tighten it. So, and tighten. So that tightening feeling is like someone's going to punch you like that. So you want to get that nice and tight. So that is a brace. So you want to do that bracing movement before any kind of squat, press, or deadlift to protect your back. So what that bracing does is it creates intra-abdominal pressure. So that essentially activates all your core muscles that surround your spine to stabilize it and keep a healthy back. Now we're going to go over how to properly hinge. So this is going to be the initiating movement in a squat, in a deadlift, in a Romanian deadlift, different things like that. And so how I like to teach this one is if you grab a foam roller, something you can kind of hold close to you, and you kind of squeeze your hands into it against your body, and you just kind of feel that foam roller coming down and then back up. If you don't have a foam roller, that's totally fine. You can also just keep your hands close to your body, and you want to think about sticking your butt back, as far back as it can go until you feel like a nice stretch in the hamstrings, and then coming up. So this is a hinge. All right, it's okay to have a slight bend in the knee, but you really want to think about sitting those hips back. So you want to do a hinge before you go to pick up anything off the ground. So let's say I want to pick that up, hinge, and then you can kind of squat down from there. So when it comes to structuring your workout, you want to have the compound exercises at the start. So these are exercises that incorporate multiple muscle groups, and then more of the isolated exercises which don't incorporate as many muscles at the same time closer to the end of your workout. We're going to start off with our very first exercise using the shoulders, some of your arms, tricep here, and legs. So we're going to go ahead and grab some dumbbells. So start light and then work your way up from there. So we're going to start with a nice squat down and just go to a depth that is comfortable for you. So you're going to squat down and then you're going to come up and press. And whenever you're doing any kind of pressing movement, keep those elbows in front of you instead of here, just to protect the shoulder joint. So instead of pressing like this, we're going to really keep those elbows in front of your body. If you find the squat to be challenging and you're not used to that kind of movement yet, no problem at all. Find a bench or a box or something that is around your knee height, and you can just tap down and then come up. So this way you can kind of have something so you know when you can come back up from the squat. All right, so we just hit shoulders, some triceps, and some legs with the squat to press. So now we're gonna target our back and biceps. So we're gonna grab some dumbbells. You can also do this with a barbell as well, but we're gonna start with some dumbbells. So we're gonna use the technique that I taught you guys about, the hinge. So you're gonna do a nice hinge down, and then you're gonna brace, keep it tight the whole time, and you're gonna bring those elbows up and back. You don't need to be super bent over to do this. You can just have a slight hinge until your hands kind of come to right around above your knee level. And then you're gonna bring those elbows up and back, squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then back down. Basically, when you depress your shoulder blades, it looks like this. So you're here depressing them, and then retracting them is bringing them together. So whenever you're doing anything with back or shoulders, or really most movements, you want to make sure your shoulders are down and back. And then with this movement, you're squeezing them at the top. Now, if you are susceptible to low back pain or anything like that, we're going to mimic that movement, but instead our chest is just going to be supported. So it's a little bit awkward to get into, but it's okay. So you're here, shoulders down, up, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then coming back down. All right, so this next exercise really is one of the king of all leg exercises. So we're gonna do some walking lunges. Now, a lot of times I like to do a lot of unilateral training, so training one leg at a time instead of them both together like in a squat. Because more often than not, we have imbalances, so you know most of us are right hand dominant, so eventually there's going to be problems that result. So for some walking lunges, if you want to just do them body weight, that's totally fine. You can absolutely do that. But essentially you're just going to step, lunge, and then come back. And if you find balance to be tricky, you can think about not only stepping forward, but a little bit on a diagonal, and that'll help kind of stabilize you a little bit more. If you still find it tricky, if you hold like onto a wall or something and you just do reverse lunges while holding on to something, that's totally fine as well. But you just want to really think about getting your knee as close to the ground as possible. You don't want it to smash into the ground, protect your patella there. And so a couple progressions for this, if body weight lunges are too easy, you can grab a couple of dumbbells. And if that's too easy, the next progression would be to put a barbell on your back. The hardest one here would be if you get a dumbbell or a kettlebell, any kind of weight really, and you have it over your head like that. So you're gonna use a lot of core when doing this one. All right, so we've pretty much hit every muscle group except for chest. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. And I always like to show people how to set this up as well, because once you start getting heavier dumbbells, it's gonna be more important to do this. So you wanna use your knees to help flick up the weight like so, and then press up, your feet flat on the ground there. Now, this is gonna be stability bench. You're gonna have one up there and you're gonna bring one dumbbell down at a time. Now, really important for dumbbell bench press, or even when you push up anything, you don't want your elbows flared like this. You always wanna keep them kind of at like a 45-degree angle, not that close, somewhere in the middle, to protect your shoulder joint. If you find that to be too easy, up the weight. And the other variation, which is a bit harder, is holding at the bottom instead. A common issue that I see is a lot of times our elbows kind of collapsing like this. You want to keep a right angle right where your elbow is. You want to have it there. So not like this, like this. Have it nice and sturdy. And you're going to bring it up, and we're going to do one at a time. And then when you're done, bring those knees up and use that momentum to help you stand. So there's one very important muscle group that we have not yet targeted, and that's going to be our core. So a huge misconception is people, you see them doing a lot of crunches and stuff like that, and they think that the core is really just these six-pack abs or muscles right here. In reality, your core is all around your midsection. So your core is here, your obliques, core is also in the back, core is all around. So whenever you do a abs or core exercise, you want to make sure that you're using them all together, or make sure that you're doing different exercises to target each different one. So essentially you're going to grab a kettlebell, really any kind of weight, even a dumbbell, any kind of weight that you have, and you're going to bend down and remember that hinge motion whenever you go to pick something up. So you're going to brace, help you pick it up. Okay, so while you're carrying this, you want to expand to the sides of your stomach and then tighten. So you can still breathe, but maintain that tightness of your core. All right, so everything's tight. You can put this hand here, make sure that is tight and engaged, head straight forward, and you're just gonna walk. You're gonna hold that kettlebell to your side. You're just gonna walk. Now, this may not seem like it's doing much, but I can tell you that it definitely is. All right, so the main workout is done, and every single time you work out, I already explained how important a proper mobility warm-up routine is at the start, but also at the end, you want to make sure that you're cooling down and stretching. So right now, the muscles, they're tightened from being worked and contracting while we were doing the different exercises. So we want to lengthen them back to their original positioning. When they are super tight, and we go out with tight muscles and we go to do certain things like, ow, I pulled this or pulled that or pulled my hamstring, ow, because you're not stretching them at the end of your workout properly. On my channel, I have some follow along workouts. Those are more HIIT type workouts, so getting that heart rate up. So if you're interested in something more of that realm instead of the more weightlifting side of things, then I will link those up right here. Feel free to check them out. And I'm so happy and excited that you guys are joining the gym. You're starting it. You're gonna do amazing. You're in the process of forming a healthy habit that's gonna just change your life. And I hope that you guys have a killer day. Bye.